This is Mainstream Metaphysics with your host, Nick Newmont.
Oh yeah, I like that music. Hi, I'm Nick Newmont. Welcome to Mainstream Metaphysics. It's Tuesday night in Los Angeles, but it's not Agora Hills anymore. It's Westlake Village. Joining me tonight, Becca Hennessy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my God. You're excited to be here? You work here all the time. I'm excited to be here. This is what we've been waiting for. These are the studios that are now called Conejo Valley Talk Radio. And we're still doing Mainstream Metaphysics, but it's under the umbrella of the Newmont Consciousness Network. We are so jazzed to be doing what we are doing. And thank you so much for being a part of our lives. And this is available. And
Oh, I'm so excited. It's a new look. It's a new studio. It's the premiere launch of the Newmont Consciousness Network.
Absolutely.
And we're so excited. If you look up in our, in that corner, let's see, I'm getting confused now. In this corner over here, above Nick's head, you'll see the beautiful logo.
There it is.
And I want to hear more about your vision of your network. This is Mainstream Metaphysics. This is your show, Mainstream Metaphysics. And now it's going to premiere on your actual channel. Can you tell me a little bit more about
Sure.
that?
Well, Mainstream Metaphysics, for those people who have been following me since the days of LA Talk Radio, which just a couple weeks ago is 4 years now that
Wow.
Mainstream Metaphysics has been going. And truth be told, that some years ago, when we still lived at the Catherwood home, our good friend Alexandra, who channels Golden Arrow, was there, and I received a reading, and I was talking about, and this is probably like, oh my God, like 9 years ago, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Right. And I was talking about wanting to do more media and so on and so forth, because back in the 90s, I was on talk shows all over the place, national stuff, national radio. I was on my book tour in 2003.
You have always done television. You were on a soap opera.
Right. Yeah, in the early 90s, I was on Santa Barbara playing Jamie the chauffeur. And then, of course, I was on the stand-up comedy tour circuit, back in those days. So
Right.
I have a good relationship with the media and so on and so forth. And in the late 90s, I had a nightly radio show, national radio show.
I did not know that.
Yep. And that went for a while. So that was really cool.
And what was that show about?
Oh, my God. Well, of course. So a friend, and I wasn't part of this. You remember the Psychic Friends Network, Dionne Warwick and all that?
I do.
Well, they wanted to do this radio show, and a friend got a hold of me and said, Nick, you should audition for that. And went in, and they only had a couple guys, and so they wanted a moderator, a female, and then a guy. And as it turned out, I guess the other guy wasn't competition. Then they had to sort out the woman. And so we had this show that lasted for a while until the producers stopped paying for the studio space.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
That might be an
that's why
issue.
it went. But it was great. It was 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday, and it went from 10 p.m. Till 7 out here until 11 at night. It was 4 hours every night.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And of course, on the East Coast, that made it like 10 until 2 in the morning.
So
it was a live call-in.
Live call for psychics.
You were right.
Oh, my gosh.
I had so much fun
Fantastic.
doing that show. So Alexandra, Golden Arrow, said to me back then, if you want your own show to be in the media more, you have to create it yourself. And at that point, it was like, I don't know how I'm going to create this myself.
Right.
So now we fast forward. A few weeks ago, we're sitting in a meeting with Becca and Ed Hunt, who's behind here.
He's behind the scenes.
This show is produced and directed by Ed Hunt. Ed was in the meeting too, and all of a sudden I got this insight because, look, when we're relying on our own social media to broadcast, you're only going to capture a certain percentage of the audience.
Right.
And we were on the upswing at LA Talk Radio before COVID. I mean, while we were live, we were getting 6, 7, 8, 900 views, watching while the show
Right.
was on.
Right.
It was really cool. And then COVID, and the rest is history. Right. So I'm sitting there with Becca and Ed, and all of a sudden it hit me, and I just said, why don't you start your own radio station? And Ed just got quiet for a moment, and he looked, and he said, I can do that.
That's right.
I know how to do that.
Yeah.
So let's get on it.
And so we have, Ed and I, actually have a studio. We are in a studio. We have the lights and the camera and so forth. My background has always been in media or in singing and so forth.
Sure.
And I would quite often help people with their businesses. I would, make little commercials for them or film things, whatever the case may be. When he came up with the idea, of course, Ed and I sort of looked at each other and went, duh. I mean, we have the cameras, we have the lights. I mean, one day I'll take pictures so you guys can see as well.
Yeah, little tour.
And Ed is so creative, and he's so wonderful at putting together logos and understanding how to put the music together and so forth. But you had everything. I mean, this wasn't really, we didn't have to create too much. We had everything already. We just said, give us what you've got. And of course, Ed put his Svedgali stuff on it, is what I call it. And
exactly.
it just has turned into this magical thing. And don't you love the background? I don't know if you guys can type in or whatever on Facebook, but love to hear your comments.
Right.
But I love what you've done here. I love what you did with the table and the crystals. Is it your intention, by the way, every week to show a different crystal?
Probably, yeah. We'll
There's
just
so
show-
much to talk about, and there's always so much to talk about when it comes to you. But I know you have a list of things, so don't let me take over.
No.
You know me, I can talk
There's
a lot.
this hour is going to go fast. And by the way, when you said music, the opening theme is created, produced, and performed by Milena Gianna. So she is extremely talented.
And tell them who
And
Milena
that
is.
That is my daughter. But she
Absolutely.
goes under Milena Gianna, not the Newmont name, as a performer. Anyway.
And
it's-
she's fantastic, and she's wonderful, and she has an album out.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Right.
Okay, well, we will leave in the comments below once this is done where you can find her album as well. So this is just a little snippet of what
Oh, my God, yeah.
what she can do.
So we're thrilled to do this, and as this is now Conejo Valley Talk Radio, if you have whatever you do that's good, productive, ethical, the idea is for those of you out there to come and do your own weekly show. Like tomorrow night, Audrey will be on. She'll be doing
right.
it Wednesday nights, Conscious Mind Tripping. She's on tomorrow night with Selena Culp, who has been on my show and her show back and forth.
Oh, I love Selena.
Yeah, she's one of the.
Can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, the facilitators at the Newmont Center. So, like for instance, my trainer Brandon Fravel is on the show next week. His ears perked up. He goes, "I should do my podcast there."
Isn't that
so
wonderful?
Definitely check out the studios. At the end, we can give you Becca or Ed's phone numbers so that you can come and see the studio and get an idea what it takes. But if you've got a format, you're doing a podcast, what will happen is this will stream across many.
Yes. So we have the ability with the technology that we have is to do a live stream on many formats. So
Right.
tonight, to give you an example, we are on Facebook, YouTube. Gosh, we have a number of places. It just depends on what platforms you want to be on, and we can
Right.
walk through people and show them what we've got and so forth. But I want to hear more about your channel and what your vision is for it.
Well, the idea of the channel, the Newmont Consciousness Network, is for other people that are practitioners, healers, psychics, to come and be a part of it and get good exposure, create good material, very much so like the Gaia channel, all right?
Oh, I love that.
That's what we're looking to do, and also to present information to people in language that's easily understandable.
Right.
It's very easy when people are very talented in a craft or a science to speak knowingly about their their background, but sometimes the language is too scientific.
Right.
And we have to, because when people say, what's that mean? That means that we need to do a better job of explaining the intricacies.
Exactly.
Because when we talk about a technicality, like if I went through the technicalities of some of the things I've done numerology, everybody would be scratching their head.
Right.
It's just kind of like, so. And by the way, people out there that know me well, they would ask about the dates and the names numerologically and astrologically. Yes, I did all that, you know.
Right.
I was sitting at home. I got a hold of you and Audrey, and I was texting going, oh, my God, these numbers
That's
are
right. As a matter of
incredible.
fact, Nick is the one who came up with the name of Conejo Valley. I still have to get used to it. Live radio.
Talk radio.
Talk radio.
Yeah.
And of course, he ran the numbers, and he said, it's such a great number. Do you know what the number is?
Off the top of my head, I forget.
That's okay. Anyway, I just know
but
that
it was a
he
bunch
said,
of 11s in
it's
it.
a fantastic number. I'm like, great. That's the name. That's what we'll go with. And the same thing with you, with your network and your channel. You ran the numbers, and
For
it was
Newmont Consciousness Network, right?
That's exactly right.
Definitely. Yep. So again, I know in the Conejo Valley Talk Radio, it had a bunch of 11s, and it was like great numbers. It wasn't good numbers. It was like, oh my God, numbers.
Right.
You know. So look, you know, when you get insight, and I've had this happen with clients, and you've even done this, Becca, where you've come to me and said, this is the name I want to use, but maybe it's too late because we're already committed, and I've done the numbers for you, and I've gone, you really did a good job because this is what you want to use.
You know, one of the things about Nick, if you don't know him, you want to know him. So Nick, you are, oh my gosh, where do I begin? You're an astrologer.
Right.
You're psychic.
Right.
Your intuition is off the charts. You perform sentient healing on
Right.
people, which is like a crystal layout and so forth.
Right.
You read tarot cards. You teach classes. You have learned your craft, if you will, in so many ways. And I love the idea of what you're going to do with the channel and for other practitioners to be able to come in and talk about what they do. But one of the things where I was leading with this is because he does so many things, if you're a business or you have questions about your numerology, your astrology, what's the best time to make a purchase, for instance? What's the best time not to make a purchase? And every individual is different based on their astrology, based on their birth date, based on their numerology. And that's
Right.
what Nick is that's what you're incredible at leading people in what is best for your highest good. I mean, you've told me at times, don't buy that phone yet. Not a good time. It's not going to turn out good. And I'm like, oh, okay, then I guess I'll just wait with a broken phone. You know,
Right.
What's happening?
Well, because you don't want to make a mistake in a certain planetary alignment where you
Right.
end up taking the phone back.
Right. And you have businesses that have hired you to help
Oh,
with
yeah.
the hiring of their staff, right?
Exactly. And firing.
Oh,
Yes.
well,
Yes.
I didn't know about that.
Well, yes.
Oops.
Well, because what's happened is that on the hiring end, it's looking at. I never met the people. It's just looking at resumes and getting a feel for what they're telling me,
Right.
and whether that vibration is. It's not really. You don't really look at it as good or bad, but it's really. Is it compatible with these people?
Right,
Are
energetically.
these
Right.
energies going to work? Now, when I do property cleansings and blessings.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even talk about that. He can cleanse a property. He can bless a property. Businesses again. I mean, cars. Whatever you have.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I go to a business and there's a sizable business and I go to each desk when no one is there, all this is done after hours, I'm able to tell the owners of the business who's doing what.
Wow.
And it is with crazy accuracy.
Wow.
And
Wow.
And I've watched some of the people, just the owners just look at each other like, oh God, they kind of knew that.
I want you to do a show just on some of the house cleanings and the businesses that you've done and some of the crazy stories. Because I think you've told me a few crazy stories.
Oh, there's been some wild stuff that's happened through the years of doing that.
Yeah, we'll have to do a show on that, or you, not me.
Well, you can always you can always sit in on the show.
I'll sit in on it, right?
But when it comes to that stuff with the property blessings, which is a very high-end ritual, that's what the general public at times would refer to as ghost busting.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And on people, I have done exorcisms.
Arr.
So I did one recently.
I will take you down.
Yeah, not.
If you see my head spinning around, you know that I need Nick.
The pea soup wouldn't show up in the green screen.
Nick Newmont instead of Ghostbusters, just Nick Newmont.
Oh my
It's all
God!
good.
Yeah, it's never boring. And I am a medium and a channel. So as you know,
Oh my gosh, I forgot to mention that as well.
So I do absentee channel Merlin, but as time has gone on, I do a lot more speaking to people on the other side.
Right.
So that part of me is kicked in even more. And in a couple months ago, I told the story about how when I went to Audrey's dad's internment in Arlington, Virginia, the experience that I had with spirits and her dad and all that kind of stuff.
That was at, did you say Arlington? That was the
Right.
big cemetery. Wow.
Right, yeah.
I can imagine you had a big experience there.
So that was very opening for me.
Right.
So, yeah, I try to be as much of and I'm a hypnotherapist, I try to be as much of a one-stop shop for people, whether they want energy work done or hypnotherapy. And a lot of people that don't want to go to a traditional psychotherapist will come to me or Audrey and use us as their primary care therapist.
Great.
Because we get to the bottom more.
Right.
of
And you also
things.
sell products. I know that you have this amazing book on numerology,
you.
which I'd love you to talk about. But you also sell crystals. And that,
Right.
that was why I referred to the crystal in the beginning. So hopefully every week you'll have a different crystal that will also be for sale.
Sure.
And you also have all types of candles. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh my God, the candle line. So we do have a full aromatherapy product line.
Great.
Incense, bath salts, shower gels, oils, and of course the candles. And we're over 100 different recipes now
Oh, wow.
for the candles. And now as we're getting into the holiday season, we have that line that's coming into play. So that's always fun. Because it makes the office smell so good, the kitchen where we make
But you
the
also
candles.
have candles for people who are putting their intentions out there.
Yeah, we have
or
magical
for
candles.
people. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so and that's where the bulk of the recipes are. So if you have a need, we have a candle that's intended to meet that need, whether it's for protection, for love or romance. And I'm not talking about tacky spells. I'm talking about the aromatherapy that goes into that part of the brain
Sure.
to trigger a positive reaction
Right.
to attract that. We have candles that are very cleansing. We have calm. We have peace. We have intuition. We have intention. We have aura cleanse. We have big money. It just goes on. Appreciation.
I'll take a dozen of those.
The big money.
Yeah.
That's our number one selling candle.
Is it?
Big money.
Great.
Yes, it is.
That's great.
That is. I know. That's wild.
And you also just brought in fountains.
Yes. We used to sell fountains, and that particular manufacturer went out of business, and now we're bringing fountains back. They are gorgeous, and I've got to tell you, fountains really level off the energy in a place, especially if there's a business or in a family home where everybody's a lot more animated. That means there's a lot of fire and air energy, and the water tempers that. And
Nice.
and brings and balances out the elements.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I bought a new fountain for my office, and I took some of the crystals that I had from you, and I put them in a certain way on the fountain, so now the water goes over the crystals. Very beautiful.
And at some point, when you take pictures, you have to take the picture of the lapis lazuli Stonehenge that's in Ed's office. That is an
Oh, we should
incredible.
do that. Okay, so we'll get you a good picture, and you can hold it up during
Yeah,
one of the shows.
that's just an amazing arrangement.
Yeah, that's great.
It's so powerful.
Now, that's a funny story. So you went to a gem show,
right.
and you came back, and Ed and I were in your office, and he started pulling out these lapis pieces, and I swear it looks just like Stonehenge, but these big, beautiful pieces, and he's
Oh, yeah.
kind of putting them around, and he didn't mean to. You didn't mean to. You just kind of
I put them on my
put it
desk
in
in
this
a circle.
thing in a circle, and we sort of laughed. You made a joke about it being Stonehenge or,
Right.
or Lapis Henge or and Ed just said, "Oh my gosh, the energy," and bought it and transferred it over to his office. In fact, Ed took a picture of exactly the way you set it up, so he could set it up that way.
Not only is it set up exactly the way it was on my desk, but we used a compass, and it's set up by direction exactly the way it was
Oh,
on
I
my
didn't know
desk.
that.
Yes,
Okay.
it's
That's great.
yeah. Oh yeah. So, and it's beautiful in there.
Okay, so I have another question. So I know that on your last show you talked about Saturn going
Direct.
direct.
Right.
And that happened Friday night?
It happens Saturday at 12:02 a.m.
Okay, so Friday night. As far as I'm concerned, Friday night. I was asleep. How's that? So now that it's gone direct, is that also part of the reason you wanted to launch your network at this time?
Well, it all fell into place. Numerologically, as of my birthday, I went into a 1 year, 3/7/1. When you're in a 9, which is the 9th year of a 9-year cycle, everything is kind of grinding. You know, you're tired. It's endings. 9 years are endings, okay?
Okay.
A 1 year is about fresh energy and new beginnings. And as of my birthday, I have to tell you, I really felt this refreshing energy, like I'm ready to get on with new things.
Fantastic.
And
great.
and so that's around the time, somewhere around my birthday is when I had that idea.
That's exactly right. That's right.
And so with Saturn direct, what you're referring to, Saturn, the planet Saturn rules our reputations, public life, business, big business, and the reality as how we interact with the environment. And so when Saturn is retrograde, it can slow down business, but at the same time, it can buy time. And I always tell people when Saturn goes direct, as it did, Saturday morning, to be ready to move forward.
Now, how often does Saturn go retrograde?
Once a year.
Oh,
And
okay.
this past year, it went in June, so it was late June, so you figure July, August, September, October. So it's a little over 4 months that Saturn is retrograde, and then it's direct moving forward around 8 months.
Well, yay.
But it
Fantastic.
changes, as time goes on and everything moves. So next year, and at some point I can bring my ephemeris on, the astrological guide, it probably will go retrograde in July next year.
Oh,
It
okay.
creeps,
Right,
as
right.
as it goes along.
Okay, very good. So do you have any announcements to make?
Oh, I do. So first of all, tomorrow night's show, Audrey is on Conscious Mind Tripping here at Conejo Valley Talk Radio with Selena Culp, and they're going to be talking about they have a little mini event on November 18th at the center, and Selena calls it a make and take. In other words, you're going to learn how to blend an oil, and you'll be able to make your own sugar scrub.
Nice. Perfect timing with the holidays coming up.
Exactly. So they'll be talking a lot about that tomorrow night. Then, as I said, next Tuesday night, November 14th, Brandon Fravel of Run Free Running Club, my trainer, will be here. And we're going to talk about what we need to be looking at as training, getting into shape prior to the holidays, because people have a tendency to party like crazy the holidays, and then they get to January 2nd going, oh. So we're going to a lot of fitness tips next week. Then November 21st, Lisa Gutman is going to be on, and Lisa is a wonderful, loving animal expert. She was supposed to be on the show a couple weeks ago, but my allergies were so bad that I wasn't able to do the show.
I don't know, Lisa.
Well, you
I'm
will.
excited to hear about her.
Yeah, she's lovely, and she lives in Agora, and she's got this little mini ranch. She's got horses, a pig,
Oh my gosh, how
donkey.
great.
Oh yeah, I've been to her place. It's really cool. And then November 28th, Lisa Allen, astrologer, will be on the show again, and we'll be looking at what the new year holds for us. And then on December 5th, a new psychic in our realm that we just met recently, Rachel Collins, will be on. Lovely woman, and we'll be talking about what she does, how she reads. She actually created her own set of oracle cards.
Oh, neat.
Which are fabulous, and we'll focus on that. So those are our guests from now into December 5th. More guests to come, and moving into the new year. And then on November 18th, by the way, not just what Audrey and Selena have going, but from 11 to 1 p.m., M.E. Mary Elizabeth will be doing her bit, channeling we, because when we did the panel this coming Saturday, M.E. was not feeling well and was not able to be part of the panel with Kim Falcon, Lisa Allen, and myself. And it was really, really, really good. And then one last thing, on Saturday, December 2nd, for your holiday shopping, the Newmont Center will be having an open house, and also Audrey will be there if people want to come and make a piece of artwork and for themselves or give it as a gift. So open house, December 2nd. So a lot going on.
Wow.
At the center.
That's fantastic.
In Agora.
So I have a question, because I
Yes.
noticed you said you're having an astrologer and somebody who is also a psychic. Do you read your own astrology, or do you actually go to an astrologer?
No, I do my own.
You do?
Yep.
Okay.
I used to. My astrology teacher, way back when, Patrick Lewis, who I learned so much from, got to a point a chunk of years ago, and he said, "You don't need me anymore."
Oh, wow.
He said, "You have the ability to read your own chart." And but my ability to read a chart came from him. And I am fortunate through my life. I've had incredible teachers. And a lot of what I teach and
Well, that was one of the things that I mentioned earlier, is that you not only do this, but you are very well studied in your craft. You take this very seriously. You've gone to school. You've really done so much work. In fact, I'm kind of curious. Did you all grow up knowing that you had these gifts?
No, I didn't know in the way you're asking the question. But my mother said when I was little, there were a few events that happened. She said, "You just had to know."
Was it like, I see dead people?
No. It was things I would do in anticipation of things happening. And she said, there's no way you could have known to do that.
So how old were you when because you had to make a conscious decision of, I'm going to go after these gifts and learn and cultivate it, right? How old were you?
Oh, I was in my mid-30s.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
this was a little bit later.
Oh, yeah. My life from like 35, 36 years old on is way different than the first 36
So is
years
that
of my
when
life.
you were, so the first 30-something years, is that when you were doing all the media and the comedy and the...
Well, that was actually an overlap.
Oh.
That's fascinating. So I was in the fashion industry for about 19 years.
Right.
I was actually married once before and divorced. And then when I went through this interesting time where things seemed to be unraveling, there were some good things that came in. Like all of a sudden, I was doing comedy. I was on the soap opera. And, the experience that I had in going through separation, divorce, I was meeting people that were very psychic and very spiritual.
Right.
And so my own channels were opening up, even though I had psychic events happen to me in my teens and my 20s. And people were crossing my path that were part of, my growth and coming into this now.
But does somebody stop you and say, hey, you've got a gift, you need to start coming to the center? Or really?
Yeah, actually, a woman that I would go to for readings, she was a good card reader. Her name was Sandra. She actually said to me, she goes, why aren't you reading for people?
Whoa.
And then another woman that I learned a lot from, Lucille. In fact, this woman, Lucille, was the very first psychic I ever went to. And I was just amazed because she did it psychically and along with astrology. And she just said things that nobody could have known.
So she was sort of like you.
Very much so. And she said to me that when you're older, because I was about 36 then, and here I am a chunk of years, older. She said, when you're older, you will be regarded as somewhat of a mystic. And all that makes complete sense as to, where I am with everything.
So
now.
how many years did you actually study?
Well, because the 90s on a personal level, where it was recovering from divorce and all that, the 90s were all about school for me.
Interesting.
The entire decade of the 90s, I was studying. I was in 2 different hypnosis schools. I was studying astrology. I had a formal tarot teacher. I had a teacher for numerology. All right.
Wow.
All the healing work, the foundation of the healing work, and learning how to channel. That was all in the 90s.
Wow.
The entire decade of the 90s,
incredible.
and I still learn, still and enhance what I do. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I never formally studied, which ironically is the hardest of all of them, is palmistry. I have incredible books, and I had to read and read and read and read.
I didn't even know you did that.
Yep, I sure do.
So you can look at someone's palm and,
Yeah,
oh my God.
yeah, definitely.
Okay, don't shake his hand. He'll turn your palm over and tell you exactly what's going on.
Oh my God. Well,
fine with you.
Audrey would joke about that because there is a part of the palm that's fleshy where your thumb comes right here, and that's called the mound of Venus. And she would joke about whether having a good, healthy, puffy mound of Venus. Okay.
So
Audrey knows what I mean.
I love Audrey.
But that's something that when you're looking for a romantic partner, you want to make sure that if this part right here is real flat, mine's not, then that's a person that's not real loving or real romantic. So,
Okay, well, you know that I'm going home tonight to look at my husband's palm.
yeah, there's
Too late now.
Yeah,
We've
there's-
been married a long time, so.
Right, at this point, right?
Right. Oh, well.
So,
Warranty's
anyway,
over with.
the warranty.
The warranty's over with. It's all good.
You can't trade him in.
Cannot trade him in.
Nope. Okay, Mike's a good guy. You wouldn't
He's a
want to
very
trade
good
him
guy.
in.
Would not.
So anyway, yeah, I do that. So
How fun.
it is fun.
How great. So what have we got in astrology this week?
Well, this isn't the current charts. This is simply, because I was making notes, the chart of Newmont Consciousness
neat.
Network and the chart for Conejo Valley Talk Radio.
So you can go to Harvard and you can get yourself a nice little plaque for the wall, or you can just go to Nick Newmont and get your chart, and then you can hang it up on the wall as well, right?
You know what's really cool when you say it like that, though? When people, are having children, they have their charts done and all of that stuff. It's really cool. One of the things that people do if they're going to have a C-section is they'll actually come to me and have me pick the
So
time.
funny. I was thinking about that this morning. So my first son was a C-section. And I always think, would he have been born that day? Or would it have been a few days later? Or, what would it?
Right,
No one will ever know.
right. And sometimes doctors cooperate and sometimes they don't.
Well, my doctor did. He wanted, on that Monday, he said the baby wasn't turning. And he said, we really want to take you in for a C-section. And my husband's turning white. And, he's over in the corner. And I said, could we do it on Friday? Because I'm having my nails done on Wednesday, and Thursday I'm getting my hair done. And my husband looked at me, he said, don't joke around like that. I said, oh, no, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I have to do it on that Friday because I've got to look good for the pictures.
Oh, my Becca. Yes,
Hopefully I picked a good day for my kid. Well, anyway.
He is
too
what
late
he
now.
is. He's a good
He
kid.
is what he is. He's a good kid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the comments are coming up. There we go.
Oh, do you like the background, Selena? I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Oh, that's
Thank you.
great.
That's cool. Look at that. Yes, here comes the comments. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. He's got
that's-
some really crazy stories.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Yep. Ed has done such an amazing job on the graphics and everything that he has put up. Yes, and if you are just tuning in, we are not broadcasting from the Newmont Center anymore. We are broadcasting from the studios of Conejo Valley Talk Radio here in Westlake Village. And so this is the future home of all the shows that we do. And I encourage, if you are watching, if you're a practitioner, to check out the studios here, because what we are creating is what unfortunately happened, how LA Talk Radio kind of fell apart, okay? because of COVID.
And that was because of COVID, right?
COVID,
That was
yes.
such a shame.
Yeah, because it was going great. And so now, this is what we're doing. And if you have a business and you would like to advertise on Conejo Valley Talk Radio, get a hold of Ed and Becca, and you can do that.
And I'm Becca Hennessy, just in
Yes.
case anybody
Yes, please.
wants to look me up on Facebook or whatnot. It's a great way to reach me is by Messenger on Facebook. And we will, in the comments, I'll leave all of my information as well.
Now here's something funny. There's enough people out there watching that know enough about astrology to be dangerous. So in all this, Becca is a Libra, okay?
Yes, I am.
And I'm a Libra. Ed is a Libra, and Audrey is involved in this, and she's a Libra. And how do 4 Libras get anything done? Because it gets to be like those 2 little gophers on the Bugs Bunny cartoon, Macintosh. No, you. I do insist. No, you go first.
No.
I do it.
After you.
Yep. So anyway, it's fun. It's funny at the same time.
Right.
So when it comes to a lot of the things I do, and you mentioned the book, I do want to talk about something with the book very quickly and the accuracy of numerology, all right? And I won't go through all the addition, all that, because they can't see it. And I guess at some point we can actually have Ed do graphics and I can show it. So with numerology, you don't need the time of birth. You need the whenever something was created, whether it's an entity or a person. Then, of course, if you're working with the name, you need to know the full name. So here's what happened. So back in 1997, when I was in a networking group, the stockbroker in February of that year was talking about what he saw with the stock market. And at that point, the Dow Jones index was around 7,000-ish, and everything was moving fast, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's when the Silicon Valley thing was taking off, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so what happened was he said that in May, meaning in roughly 3 months, that the Dow Jones would hit 8,000. Well, I'm sitting there with a cocktail napkin in this restaurant knowing the birth date of the New York Stock Exchange, which is May 17th, 1792, and I'm doing that for 1997, and then I realize what numbers have to come up to create this, and so I made a bet with him, and his name was Matt, and I said, look, if the Dow hits 8,000 in May, anytime you win the bet. The bet was a margarita, not money. And I said, however, for me to win the bet, it has to hit 8,000 exactly on July 16th, 1997.
Oh my gosh.
It did.
You're kidding.
Oh no, I'm not kidding.
I hope it was a big margarita.
It was a big margarita. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So that's how accurate I can be with this when you know how to work numerology on advanced levels.
So, question for you. Why I go to you for astrology and numerology and so forth,
Sure.
but I know people who can get themselves in trouble even with cards and so forth. Can you talk about what happens when you're not really trained in it?
Well, the first thing that comes into play is subjectivity, lack of objectivity.
Sure.
So when people want something to happen, their energy is going to go into the cards and somewhat manipulate or read the cards as the way they could conveniently come out. And of course, everything is open to interpretation.
So sort of like the magic 8 ball?
Right.
Does he love me and it doesn't come out right? Hang on, I didn't do it right. Does he love
shake it
me?
up again.
Is it that type
Right.
of thing? Wow.
Right. So you have to be really careful with that because those cards are real and accurate and they carry an energy. Thank you, everyone, for your comments and congratulations. Really appreciate it. So you do have to be careful. And I can read the cards for myself. In fact, recently, Milena came to me and wanted a reading on something very specific with the cards. And she said to me the other day, she goes, Dad, that was really the most accurate reading you ever gave me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because it's something that I looked at for her.
Now,
And it
what
came
about
up.
something like the Ouija board?
That you have to be careful with. Those are real, okay?
Oh.
That's not a joke, okay?
Really?
Yes. When you tap in with those devices, and it's a vibrational thing, you have to be very careful with what you are opening doors to and what you are channeling. It's not a toy, okay?
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah, I've heard some stories, by the way, so I can see where that would be true.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I deal in paranormal all the time.
And so if somebody does that in a house, can they actually allow something in the house and then you have to come back and clean it?
Yes, especially if they become fearful about it.
Gosh.
You know, that just opens up the door, you know? Mm-hmm. And so recently I've had to clean out some places and people of things where spirits kind of, portals opened up and spirits went amok.
And people can be portals as well.
People are portals. Okay?
Do they know it? Am I a portal?
Everybody is. When you get into certain types of meditation and you open your channels, you are open for spirit to come in. Think about the meditation classes that I've taught leading to channeling. I'm teaching people how to do that the right way and the safe way.
So wouldn't you want to be careful about who you're surrounding yourself with when you're doing your meditation?
Absolutely. I have people that come to me privately for energy work and so on and so forth, and there's a bunch of them that belong to similar meditation groups, and not everybody in those groups, even though they go to meditate, they're not always of integrity, okay?
Interesting.
So,
And when you teach a meditation class, do you also protect the area, like the four corners of the room? Do you set up grids and things?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because you never know who comes in. That's a bit of a loose cannon, okay? So I keep everything grounded.
Right. Wow.
And of course I clear the field,
Right.
afterwards.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Every time you do a class, every time you guys have people in?
A meditation group? Absolutely.
Oh, interesting. I
go
didn't
through,
know that.
go through and clear.
Okay.
Definitely.
Very good. So what else have we got on the schedule? What else have we got going on?
Those are all the events that are coming up. That's enough. Well, in January, if you want to go that far, thank you for saying that. So beginning Monday, January 9th, will be the 8-week series of meditation and channeling.
And if you haven't taken that, I highly suggest it. It's amazing.
And a lot of people say that they have a hard time meditating, they can't quiet their mind. When I first started teaching that class in 2000, it was actually called the I Can't Meditate class.
Oh, that's funny. That's great.
So now we just call it meditation and channeling.
Right.
But to meditate like that, a lot of people can't shut their brain off. So I teach a right brain approach, which is creative, that comes in the back door, which allows people to go into this.
It starts at 6 or 7?
Those classes will start at 7 o'clock.
Nice.
Beginning January 9th. And also, for those of you that have been around the center enough, that on Saturday, January 13th, we have the class that's called Intentional Healing, which leads to people making those chakra plates. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
are you doing anything for intentions for the new year?
Well, what Audrey and I do, and we haven't talked about this yet, but in January, what we will do is our class that's called Focus on Success. January is the best time to offer that class for people that want to get a fresh start, and that class is all about, affirmations and how to set yourself up for success in the new year.
I'm sort of swaying because I'm excited. I know something else about you
that
they don't know.
Okay.
I know that you are creating your own money book. I don't know what you're going to call it.
Right. Yes, it is. It's going to be called the Newmont Center, of course. That Newmont Center is on everything. Focus on Success Prosperity Journal.
Right.
Okay. And that is going to be a recreation of something that I've used in the past, but it will have a lot more information, a lot more filler to it. So it'll be inspirational as opposed to just opening up a journal and doing that.
And when do you think those will be ready to sell to the public?
Well, here's the deal. I have to sit down and redesign that, which will go to Ed.
I'm sorry, are you busy?
Never. We're not even in softball season.
Can we get it done next week? Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I have to sit down and do that.
That's right. He's a coach, by the way.
Right.
We forgot that part. There's so much I didn't mention.
Yeah, December we start tournaments.
Oh my gosh,
high school
already?
softball, yep.
Wow.
Yep. Oh yeah, I've taken the fall off. I show up once in a while. I check in, but yeah, I'm so busy that, it's like, oh yeah, I'll be coaching again soon.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's really fun. Well, we've got a lot of people here. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, great launch. Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? When it comes to hypnosis, I have a handful of young ladies that are softball players. Their parents bring them for hypnosis.
Oh my gosh, I never thought about
Yeah,
that. How
I do
great
sports medicine.
for those kids to have that opportunity
Yep.
to. Yeah, I remember my kid used to get so nervous playing baseball, and so I made him stand in front of the mirror and say, "I am the best. I am the greatest. I am." And then, of course, he hit a home run.
Right.
Would you start to talk about in your mind?
What's really cool is that when the parents will go to tournaments and they'll send me a video of something that their daughter did that was successful, a hit or pitching or whatever it is.
Right.
And, it's really cool. And it's by the way, it's very gratifying to see youth succeed,
Of
and the
course.
happiness. And it's so much fun to work with young ladies. I've worked with boys too, definitely. But since I've raised daughters, it's cool to continue to coach girls softball, even though they're long moved on, but to work with all these young ladies and have a lot of fun with them.
So I have a question. Are your daughters gifted?
Yes, they are. Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Both Serena and Milena are, yes.
Nice. So do they
Yeah.
read? Are they educated in the arts, or it's a gift and they haven't cultivated it?
Serena reads cards. She loves to
interesting.
read
How
cards,
fun.
and she's actually good. Milena is downright psychic. Okay?
Is she really?
Absolutely. In fact, she just said something. Oh, well, okay. So Milena got a few weeks ago a summons for jury duty.
Mm-hmm.
And then she must have misplaced it. And she
Oops.
goes, "Dad, did you see the card from Ventura County?" So later that day, I go to the mailbox. There's another card for her.
How did that happen?
Well, she must have picked up on it, and there it was for her.
That's incredible.
Milena's a manifester, and I got to tell you this: when she was little, like 3 or whatever, big enough to walk, and I would take her into a bank or a grocery store.
Right.
She would actually go to a vending machine, a bubblegum machine, without any money, and just go and make it dispense.
You're kidding. Mm-mm. Oh wow.
No,
How fun.
she has an energetic gift.
Wow.
Yep. And I can't remember what she said just yesterday, but it was something that she picked up on, and I said, "Oh, this happened." She goes, "Remember I just mentioned that to you?" Yeah, she's very talented.
She's also very gifted in music. She has an album, I think we talked about it earlier in the
Right.
show. We'll have to leave that in the comments and so forth. But she's always been very gifted. I remember when she was playing guitar early
Right.
on when you guys were over at Catherwood. And now she has a full studio. She's putting
Right.
together in your new house. She's got I don't know if she put it together yet or not.
Yeah, she
but
does. It's
nice.
Yeah, she has it. One of the bedrooms in our house is a recording studio.
Very good.
And she goes in there and composes, and she is a music major at Cal Lutheran.
So if anybody needs any music for any of videos or any movies, if you know anyone who's doing a movie, even student movies and so forth,
Right.
she might be the person to score it for you.
And she does want to focus on soundtrack stuff.
That's great. Well,
Yeah.
yes, because her music lends itself to that. Absolutely.
Right. She does a certain amount of EDM and
Right.
that kind of like on Sirius XM, the chill channel.
Right.
That type of music. Yeah. She's good. And it's funny that she's so musically talented and always has been. And really that Audrey and I are not like that. We love music, but we really don't have a background as
So where did she get? Because usually, if somebody is musically inclined, there was something in the lineage.
Well, I mean, I can read music and play the piano. Okay?
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I was a percussionist in a garage band some years ago. That's
Okay.
another thing I've never talked about.
Okay, well.
So
I'm going to
I
have to do another show with you. I have to start. I have to know who Nick Newmont is from the very beginning, because I know that you've got so much. I mean, you were born and raised in the Catholic Church. I think I know that already.
Right.
But there's a lot that's coming out in this show that I did not know.
Oh, there's more. Look, there.
Okay.
My life is not boring
Okay.
at all. I mean, back in the disco days in the 70s when I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, I mean, I was a club DJ.
Were you? Oh God, that
Yeah, I
must
was
have
a-
been
I
so
was a
much
disco-
fun. What a great time to be a DJ.
It was the best. You know, they talk about old school and all that kind of stuff. I lived that. I was in the club scene.
Oh, my gosh.
Working clubs, and I worked 4 different clubs.
How fun.
Oh my God, yeah. And the other thing is that I was also a competitive disco dancer. You know, the partner dancing.
you really?
Yes, I was.
Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
In fact,
Audrey. I didn't know. Audrey, do you dance? Don't answer.
No, she can dance. We've done that. Audrey and I've danced together, definitely.
How fun.
Well, Audrey's going to wait. There's more. And so back in the late 70s, there was a competitive show, Dance Fever, and
Do you mean the national show, Dance
yes.
Fever?
And so my partner and I, we unfortunately in Western Pennsylvania, we finished in second place to the couple that went to the show. We were that close.
Oh, wait a minute. So you weren't on the show?
No.
Dang it.
I know,
I would
right?
love to see that video. You don't have any video of that.
No.
Yeah.
No. Phones like this were not happening back then.
No, wasn't even thought of at that point, right?
But no.
Who knew? Who knew we were going to do this? And you're an amazing cook.
Thank you.
Amazing meatballs. And what did you make me for my birthday?
Oh, Coco Vin.
Coco Vin.
Oh yeah, we had Becca and Ed
so
and
good.
her husband and Mike's sister come over, and I made coco vin with baked mashed potatoes and
Right.
and all that, and we had some great wine. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was great.
I love good wine.
You know, that's something else we should do. We should take we should film your show in your house with you cooking.
Yeah, we've talked about that, and I do want to do that.
We should do that. We should plan a night and do that.
Because
maybe
in
after the holidays.
in the new house, we have that big kitchen.
Right.
You know, and I would love to do that.
Be fun, right?
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
But we can't show how to make the sauce and meatballs.
Why?
That's a family recipe, and it's a secret.
Damn it,
Can't
that was
show
the only
that.
reason I wanted to film it.
Can't do that. But what I will do, okay, is because this was number 2 when we had the coco van, was chicken cacciatore.
Oh, that's right.
And that I really want to make.
And didn't you have a story about a cookbook?
Oh, yes. Audrey's going to cower at this one.
Oh, no. Sorry, Audrey.
From back when I lived in Pennsylvania, around 1980, I had this little chicken cookbook, all right? And I really cherish it. And when you see it, it's kind of beaten up.
Sure.
Right? And so Audrey, being the organizer that she is, there's times when she puts things away. In fact, one time, as a consequence, she took one of the kids' iPods and hid it, and it was hid for a year because she
Oh
couldn't
my
remember
gosh.
where she put it. So what happened was Audrey put away this cookbook, and I was bothered about it because then she was thinking, oh God, did I throw it away?
Yeah, God forbid, right.
Right? So it was found, but because the way I am about this book, I sat down on the computer and the internet and I kept typing in keywords and found it again
Yeah?
through Etsy or whatever.
You remembered enough about the cookbook that you could actually find it?
Well, when you type enough words in now on the internet,
Sure.
it starts to spew back information.
Okay.
And so I do have the beat up one at home, but the new fresh one
Nice.
is in my briefcase.
Oh, no. So Audrey just can't get her hands on it?
Nope.
She can't
That-
hide it in a box?
Nope, that book is with
That's
me.
really funny.
And it's a really lovely book. It's so sweet, and there's a lot of great recipes in there. And one of the recipes, because we've gone from mainstream metaphysics to food. How did we do this?
Doesn't matter.
Italians.
It's all about Nick. It's all
Okay.
about the Newmont channel.
So there is this incredible recipe, and then how are we doing on time? We're good. That is so much fun and so good that You take chicken breasts, all right, and you make a paste of mayonnaise, mustard, paprika, seasonings, all right, and then you dredge the chicken breasts in this paste, fully covered, and then prior to that, you take a loaf of bread and you shred it. It's not
Okay.
breadcrumbs. You just shred the bread and make this big bowl of it, and then you take and dredge the pasted chicken in the breadcrumbs in a baking dish, melted butter all over it, put it in the oven, okay, about 45 minutes. Then you bring it out and you take the foil off, and then the heat crisps the breadcrumbs, and it looks like the chicken grew the feathers back. So we call it chicken with feathers. Yep, and it's delicious.
That's incredible.
So I have to make that one too.
I think the one thing I love the most about you is how well-rounded you are.
Thank you.
It's
Well,
not
yes,
just.
I-
It's
I-
not. No,
yes,
I
I
didn't.
am well-rounded.
Well, if you keep cooking for me, I'll be right
Oh,
behind
my
you on that
God.
as well, right?
Well, it's like some people. Oh my God! So this story about the mashed potatoes. Yes, I will tell that story, Selena. Look, some people, eat to live. I live to eat. Look. My grandparents and 3 other relatives had restaurants, and look, I love food. I really do. All right.
But you look so good. I don't know what you're doing with your health and so forth. That's another segment, I'm sure.
It's
but
the energy work. I keep recycling energy
so can you make me look younger?
with the right crystals on there. Beckett, you look fine. Jesus, I'm not going to insult my co-host.
Can you make me look 24? It's all good.
Yeah, when I do it for me. What Selena's talking about, in the scroll there, is that Audrey in our former home liked to keep crystals on the windowsill. Okay,
I remember that.
and so for this dinner party, I was making
There goes my
mashed.
hearing.
I was making mashed potatoes, and one of the potatoes went out, okay? And so it looked like it must have been more than one, so I grabbed it. But little did I know that I was picking up a piece of herderite, okay, which is a tan-colored stone,
Oh my gosh.
and whipped that into the potatoes. Now, there is such a thing as when you put crystals in water, elixirs, okay?
Sure.
Raises the vibration of whatever you're drinking or eating, okay? Well, that night, including our good friend healer Ken Klee and his wife were there, they kept remarking, these are the best mashed potatoes that I've ever had. People are just like, oh my God, I don't even remember what the main dish was, but they kept commenting on how good the potatoes were. Thank you. So when everybody left and I was cleaning up and I was in the big bowl and I was going to put them in the Tupperware, put them away, and the spoon goes clank. I'm like, oh my God. And I go in there and there's this piece of herderite, which looked
my
like
gosh.
a piece of cut potato that you would put in the water to boil.
Right, right.
Well, first of all, thank goodness no one had that on their plate.
Right. And hurt their tooth.
hurt their tooth or swallow. It was too big to swallow. But anyway, yes. So that's the story about the mashed potatoes.
Incredible. Well, did you check the chart that night to make sure you could even make mashed potatoes on that night?
I have
Just
no
kidding.
idea. When I cook, I channel. Okay.
Right.
When I go into that and do certain things.
Well, that becomes almost a meditation.
Oh my
I do
God,
the
yeah.
same thing. I put my music on and then I start to get
Right.
into my little groove and
When Audrey cleans and does stuff like that, she goes into all kinds of meditation. So anyway,
yeah, you can't imagine what bleach can do. I mean, it can really.
God, make your brain go.
Yeah,
"Rrr."
exactly.
So anyway, look, I really thrilled to be here tonight, and this is what it's going to look like in weeks to come. Like I said, if you are a practitioner of some kind, and there's Audie and Brandon, they have Run Free Running Clubs, Selena, Audrey, this is the place to do your show. It is amazing. It's professional. It's so much fun to be here. I'm so grateful that we are doing this going forward. And thank you for co-hosting the show
Are
with me.
Are you kidding? I just love being with you. I'm always fascinated with you. I'm fascinated with your stories. I'm just so in love with the new look. I'm so in love with your new channel and your new network.
you.
And I can't wait to see all the different people and practitioners who have their shows on your channel.
Right. Well, they will. They will. It'll come in time. So
Awesome.
Anyway, Becca, thanks so much for co-hosting with me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Ed, back there,
Mwah.
thank you for the work that you do. And for those of you out there watching, thanks so much. And thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. I will be back next week with Brandon Fravel as my guest. Audrey is on tomorrow night. Please watch her at 6 o'clock with Selena. And as always, the thing that has not changed is take care of yourselves. And in times like these, take care of each other.
Absolutely.
I'm Nick Newmont. This is Mainstream Metaphysics. I will see you next week. Good night, everyone.